I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka is ill and unable to attend tonight's meeting. Councilwoman Dorminio.
Here.
Councilman Garrick.
Here.
Councilman Accomando.
Here.
Council President Mazur.
Here. Please rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by saying may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Thank you. Mayor, I believe you have presentations.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. March is Women in History Month. I look forward to this month every year because it's a time to recognize the women of Saddlebrook who have influenced and inspired us. Saddlebrook has a long history of women who have contributed to the progress and the improvement of our town. The council and I acknowledge and appreciate the dedication and the service, their dedication and service to our community. There are many women who have vital leadership roles in Saddlebrook. For example, our school superintendent and the principals of all 5 schools are women. 7 out of the 9 Board of Education trustees are females. In our municipal government, there are many women holding high positions, and of course, we have my 2 favorite and the well-regarded council members, President Flo Mazur and Karen Darminio. I'm pleased and excited to welcome our Women in History honorees and their families tonight to this council meeting. Each of the honorees, in their own way, have stood out, excelled, and inspired us. I'm going to start out with Mrs. Marie Cattuso. Marie, can you come up, please? Yes. I have a proclamation that I'm going to read, okay, which will tell everybody about you and how amazing you are. You're receiving this as an outstanding citizen.
Thank you.
So it's a proclamation from me. Whereas Marie was born to Giovanna and Godolfo Giresi and raised in Garfield, New Jersey. Marie graduated high school in 1940 and married Nicholas Cattuso. Marie has 3 children, Christina, Jeanette, and Michael. She has 4 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. Whereas at the age of 19, one day after the attack of Pearl Harbor, Marie began working as a bookkeeper and contractor for the United States Government Air Force Office. Marie worked as a bookkeeper for York Radio Corporation. She also worked at her family banquet facility, the Cotillion. After retiring, Marie helped run the office of her son's building and construction business. And whereas while her children were in school, Marie was involved with the St. Philip the Apostle School Mothers Guild and ran many fundraisers. Currently, Marie is the treasurer of the Saddlebrook ARP, Chapter 3785, since 2009, and is a member of the Saddlebrook Senior Advisory Board. Now, therefore, on this 14th day of March, 2019, I, Robert D. White, Mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, wish to celebrate Marie Cattuso in honor of Women in History Month. You can sit right there. Here, take the. Next, we have Angelina Karsage. Come close to me. No.
These are for you, Angie. Congratulations.
So Angie, a lot like Marie, is receiving this as an outstanding citizen. So I also have a proclamation. I'm going to read it. Whereas Angelina was born to Mary and Joseph Miglaresi, did I get that right? And raised in North Bergen, New Jersey. Angelina went to Union Hill High School and married Anthony Carsage. They have 4 children, Anthony, Maureen, Lorraine, and Ronald. Angelina has 10 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren. Whereas Angelina and Anthony lived in Union City, New Jersey before moving to Hackensack in 1951. Angelina worked at Bamberger's as a waitress for 15 years and after retiring helped her husband with different business ventures. In 2006, Angelina moved to Saddlebrook and a year later became a member of the Saddlebrook Senior Club. And whereas today, Angie is the treasurer of Saddlebrook Senior Club and a member of the Senior Advisory Board and is the coordinator of the Senior Club bus trips to Atlantic City, which we all love. So now therefore, on this 14th day of March, I, Robert D. White, the mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, wish to celebrate Angelina Carsage in honor of Women in History Month. Congratulations. Okay. Number 3, this honoree is for women in business. And I'd like to call up Philomena or Nina Petroselli.
Congratulations, that's right.
Nina's getting a gift card because all the flowers are supplied by her, and they thought it would be tacky to give her the flowers that she prepared. Okay, whereas, I'm gonna say Nina, because Philomena is, I know you as Nina. Whereas Nina was born in Passaic, New Jersey, to Angelo and Teresa Greco. Nina moved to Saddlebrook at the age of 7. She has 1 son, William, and enjoys life with her significant other, Frank Ferrera. Whereas Nina is a graduate of Immaculate Conception High School in Lodi. She has worked her whole life in the floral industry and has a passion and love for floral design. She opened and ran her own business for 10 years called The Bridal Loft. Later, Nina returned to work at her family-owned business, Terry's Florist in Saddlebrook. In February 2013, she formally took over the family business and today continues to provide her customers with impressive creations and impeccable service. Whereas Nina is also a member of Saddlebrook Women's Club and the Ladies Auxiliary of the VFW Post 3484. Nina she supplies flowers for just about all the occasions here in town, plus with the Ladies Auxiliary and the Women's Club. So we thank her, and she always treats us very well. Thank you so much. So the last part, now therefore, on this 14th day, I'll read again, March 2019, I, Robert D. White, the mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, wish to celebrate Nina Petroselli in honor of Women in History Month. Okay, moving on, our 4th honoree is for community service, and that's going to be Ellen Knutz Josephson. Whereas Ellen was born to Richard and Ann Knutz and raised in Galena, Illinois. And whereas in 2001, Ellen graduated from Northern Illinois University with a master's degree of science in education. She began teaching at St. Mary's Academy High School in Illinois from 1993 to 1997, and then at Quinn High School, also in Illinois, from 1997 to 2003. Whereas after working at Quinn High School, Ellen then came to Saddlebrook to begin her career at the Saddlebrook Middle School High School, where she has been since 2003. Whereas as an educator, Ellen devotes her time to the children in our community. Serving the community, Ellen volunteers for the Saddlebrook Community Partnership Access for All Committee. She is Vice President of the Saddlebrook Education Association, where along with her colleagues, she organizes food drives to donate items to our local food pantry. The association also fundraises for local organizations and various causes. Ellen is a member of the BCEA Legislative Action Team. She is a member of the New Jersey Science Teachers Association and the faculty advisor for the National Honor Society. Now, therefore, on this 14th day of March 2019, I, Robert D. White, Township Mayor, wish to celebrate Ellen Knutz Josephson in honor of Women in History Month. Just a personal note. I know that recently, Ellen, there was an incident in the high school where there was a student that became injured, and without getting into detail, Ellen put herself in harm's way to protect this student, and we really appreciate it. And she does that all the time for, from what I understand from the faculty and staff. So, thank you very much. I hear you're a great baker, too. Okay, last but not least, unfortunately, she could not be here tonight. Elizabeth Beth Delvecchio, she's in Atlantic City for a conference. She's very dedicated. She's an athletic director, and this week, this just so happened to be the conference. But we have here her mother, and I'd like to introduce her, Mrs. Dolores Picard. So this is honoring Beth Delvecchio. Whereas Beth was born to Dolores and Donald, she has a brother, Alfred, who's here tonight, and was raised in Newark, New Jersey, before moving to Saddlebrook at the age of 9. And whereas Beth graduated from Saddlebrook High School in 1979 and received her master's degree in physical education from New York University and completed her second master's degree in administration and supervision from Montclair University. I believe that was last year. Whereas Beth taught special education before becoming the athletic director and head of the health and physical education department at Paramus Catholic High School in 1987. As a coach of volleyball and softball, Beth won several league, county, and state championships. Whereas notably, Beth was named by the Star Ledger as one of the top 3 high school girls volleyball coaches of all time. She was also named BC Girls Volleyball Coach of the Year in 1988 and 1989, Bergen County. See, it's not easy being up here. Okay. Beth has been an athletic director for 32 years, and 20 of those years has been at Cresskill High School, where she currently works. There was numerous awards that she received. I could have went on and on and on. I tried to pick out the most notable ones. Now, therefore, on this 14th day of March, 2019, I, Robert D. White, the mayor of the Township of Saddlebrook, wish to celebrate Beth Delvecchio in honor of Women in History Month. Karen, I'd like you to come up and say a few words. Karen is very involved with our seniors in town. She's been president of ARP, and she's also the president of the Senior Advisory Board. So I'd like to have her say a few words about Marie and Angie.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I've been around the seniors a long time, but now I am a senior, so it's good. Yeah, I'd like to congratulate all you women, so well-deserving. A few words about my girlfriends here, Angie and Marie. We've been together quite a few years, and I got to tell you something. They are wonderful people. Angie, what you do for the seniors with the senior club, the bus trips, mayor's mayors, Senior Advisory Board, and Marie. Marie, I have to tell you, she's been a treasurer, how long now? 10 years for ARP. To the penny, she does it. I got to tell you, I love you two ladies, and it is an honor to be your friend, and you're so well deserving of this.
You're welcome. At this time, I want to call Assemblywoman Lisa Swain and Assemblyman Chris Tully. They have some presentations they'd like to make.
Hello, everyone. I'm State Assemblywoman Lisa Swain, and this is...
State Assemblyman Chris Tully.
And we represent District 38 along with Senator Joe Lagana, and we represent 13 towns, including Saddlebrook. So we are so grateful to be here tonight to participate in this momentous occasion. I know that Saddlebrook has been celebrating Women's History Month, but this is our first time in the Assembly that we get to be here to acknowledge the work that you have done. And I am so impressed that all of you have really given back to the community with your work with education, with kids. We have a hero amongst us, and it's such an honor to be able to see people, especially women, who rise up, who take care of some of our most important citizens, our young ones and our older ones, and out of the goodness of their heart and their talents are able to give back to the community. And I know that the people that you have worked with probably will never forget the contributions that you have made. Thank you. So Chris?
Sure.
We have a bunch of proclamations too.
We do, and I just wanted to add on to Lisa's point, it's just such an honor to represent Saddlebrook, such a warm and tight-knit and wonderful community, and the reason it's wonderful is because of leadership like yours, whether it's in education or in business or serving our senior community. It is such a pleasure to meet all of you tonight and to represent you, and just know that our office is always open to you and anything you ever need, and part of the honor of representing you is getting to present awards from the State Assembly and Senate. I don't want to read the whole thing; it's very long. But I will say, just at the end, just so you get an idea of what we wanted to say. It is altogether proper and fitting that this legislature acknowledge all four of you as individuals of strong character and exceptional determination. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly by the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby lauds you, pays tribute to your momentous record of service, leadership, and commitment, and extends sincere best wishes for all your continued success and future endeavors. That is signed by Senator Joseph Lagana, Assemblywoman Swain, and myself. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for all that you do.
I want to thank the mayor and council for allowing us to be here to participate with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen? Angelina? Angelina? Angie. I'm sorry, Angie. Angelina. Filomena is my mother's name. So, well, she spells it, that's the Italian, but she has the O. So, Marie, there you go.
We'll get this for your daughter.
Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you so much for allowing us
I have flowers for my two esteemed colleagues, President Flo Mazer and Councilwoman Karen Darminio. Yeah, you know, at this time, I just want to give each one of the honorees the opportunity to say a few words if you want. You don't have to. but I know one person that definitely wants to speak at the end over there.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
I will say, I have lived in Saddlebrook for 63 years. This moment will never, ever leave my heart, my mind. I am so honored and so pleased with all the wonderful, wonderful compliments. I've worked here. I don't call it work. For me, it was pleasure. Everything I did to help out, whether it was the ARP or the kids at St. Philip's who didn't have any lunch, and we'd cook hot dogs for them, and all those great things were fun and made my life much happier. Thank you very much for everything. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a newcomer in Saddlebrook, 13 years to be exact. And I really love it here and do whatever I do with all my heart. And I love you all and thank you. I can't believe the honor that you gave me to, yes, but.
Well deserved.
Well, anyway, thank you all.
Thank you all so much for this honor. I'm absolutely blown away by this. I didn't expect it. I thank my parents for moving to Saddlebrook in 1964 and leaving me the legacy that I have. I truly enjoy working with everybody in the town of Saddlebrook and all the customers that come into my store. So again, I thank Saddlebrook so much.
I too am very humbled to be honored tonight. And Saddlebrook is a family and it's a community. And all the volunteer work I do in town is just paying back the blessings that the town has bestowed on me.
I'm here for the ride. I'm here since I'm what? How old? 40 years old. I'm originally from Down Neck North, the Ironbound section. And sometimes I really miss it, even though it changed a lot, but it'll always be there. But I got used to Saddlebrook. I don't have too many friends here. Let's put it that way. I don't know too many people in Saddlebrook.
You have friends now.
Yeah. Yeah, I go by Bob West every morning for coffee.
Come to the
With his
senior
wife.
center.
Oh, no, I don't want to join that. I don't want to get involved with that. Sorry. Thanks for listening to me, everybody.
Thank you very much. I'd like to take some pictures now with the
Mayor.
recipients.
Mayor?
Township resolution.
Resolution.
I'm going to read.
At this time, just at this time, quickly, Councilman David Garrick is going to read a resolution.
All right, this is the Township of Saddlebrook resolution for Women in History Month. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation, state, and township in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life. And whereas women have played a unique role throughout our history by volunteering and establishing charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. And whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement and emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and the peace movement, which creates a more fair and just society to all. And whereas, despite these contributions, the role of women in our history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that it hereby joins the National Celebration of Women's History Month with the theme this year of #Balance for Better. And be it further resolved that the Township Council hereby recognizes and congratulates the honorees here tonight for their distinguished service to our community. Thank you.
Now have a motion at this time to open the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard?
There's
I'm sorry?
people out there waiting to come in.
Oh, they are? Okay, we'll give them a couple minutes, a couple seconds.
Tell them we started, yeah.
The meeting's gonna start now.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Good night.
Thanks, Dean.
Seeing none.
No?
No?
No? Good, okay. Motion. Motion
Second.
for second, okay. All righty, now to our agenda. Okay, Mayor?
Regarding the budget, Pete and I and Ray, we're still fine tuning everything. We should be introducing it at the next council meeting in April. April 2nd is our work session, and April 4th is the regular meeting. Tonight, we have a couple of bond ordinances. One for, to continue our road improvement program, and another for replacement of water mains on Shealy. There's also a second reading on to increase the water rate. We have got a 6% increase by Suez, and also some water upgrades is in that increase. We got a second reading on the revision of fire prevention permit fees. We also have a first reading for reserved parking for the Saddlebrook Library, the patrons and staff. We are getting people parking there when they shouldn't. So that's what this ordinance will take care of, that, signs posted and such. We have some resolutions on. There's two shared service agreements with Bergen County. One is a uniform contract, and the other is an arrangement to utilize their fire apparatus and equipment if that becomes necessary. There's also a memorandum of understanding between the Township Emergency Management and the Red Cross, which defines the working relationship and clarifies the roles and responsibilities in cases of emergencies. We utilize the Red Cross in emergencies, so it's important that we get that signed. There's also a proposal to utilize the service of a company named Remedy to audit our prescription coverage. There's no cost to the township. They analyze our plan and the company that administers it, and they find available rebates, discounts, and whatever savings. And they would, any savings, they would keep a small percentage of that. I sent a letter regarding a proposal for light rail. I'm using the existing Susquehanna and Western Railway. That's the railroad that cuts through the center of town. So it cuts through, it crosses Saddle River Road, Mayhill, and Midland. The township is notified that if they're meeting to discuss this proposal, it's way out in the future, but due to the potential negative impact that this proposal will have, or we think will have, the negative impact, including increased traffic congestion and a decreased response time, because sometimes these trains, they'll cut us right in half and we can't get from one side of the town to the other. Our emergency services are stifled there. So we're opposing it. We're requesting to be involved in any negotiations, and we oppose it unless they can come up with some kind of assurances. I mean, one thing that would be costly, a bridge or something where, or a tunnel, I don't know, something somehow where they would go over so it would not block traffic. So I think it's important that we stay on top of that. We have some events coming up. Our Easter celebration is Friday, April 12th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Saddlebrook High School Gym. The Little League Parade is the next day. Opening day parade is Saturday, April 13th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Starts at Fairlawn Parkway in Shepherd's and ends up at Nedlick Field. I want to wish good luck to our recreation spirit leaders. They're having their national tournament this weekend at Kalahari Resorts in Pennsylvania. Some congratulations is in order. Our rec wrestling team, the kids competed in the state tournament this past weekend. Also, 3 township students, high school students, placed in the state wrestling championship in Atlantic City a couple of weekends ago. Dean Sedecase from Saddlebrook High School came in 3rd. Vincent Andriano, who wrestles for Del Barton High School, came in 5th. And Will Grader of Don Bosco High School came in 8th. Quite an accomplishment. Sedecase, that 3rd place is, in the whole existence of Saddlebrook High School, we've had 3 top 3 places at that state tournament. One was another 3rd place, which was the kid by the name of Larry Biggs, who graduated 1977. And then after that, I don't know when he graduated, but Billy Hyman came out. He was the only state champion we ever had. So this is quite an accomplishment. Also, Saddlebrook High School competition cheer team, they came in 1st in their division and were grand champs at the national tournament at Universal Studios in Florida. That was last weekend. We also want to extend our sympathies, the council and I, to the Van Winkle family. Harold Van Winkle, the father of Thomas, suddenly passed away last Saturday evening. Thomas is our mayor's youth group liaison to the mayor and council. So heartfelt condolences to them. I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, this Sunday, and to our Italian friends on Tuesday, St. Joseph's Day, Tuesday, March 19th. And again, I want to congratulate our Women in History honorees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman, comments?
Yeah, just congratulations to those women that were honored, and congratulations to all women, for that matter.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming that they don't get the recognition that they deserved over the years. So congratulations, and
Thank you.
enjoy.
Thank you.
I'd like to also congratulate all the honorees, all 5 women, as well as all the other women from our community that do so much to make Saddlebrook a great community. Thanks to the 2 council women as well, Council President Flo Mazer and Councilwoman Karen D'Arminio. I'd also like to wish all of the residents of Saddlebrook a happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
Well, they pretty much have covered it all.
I know.
So, ditto.
Thank you. I too would like to congratulate all the honorees. I'm honored to be part of such an awesome group of women. That's what makes our township what it is. Collectively, all of us together doing the great things that we do. And also, Mayor, you did cover most, but I have to mention the cast of Mamma Mia. So it's kind of fitting, Mamma Mia, Mother, yeah. But anyway, what an awesome job. I tell you, I went Friday night, and if I had the opportunity, I was going again Sunday. They did an amazing, the cast, the crew, everyone involved in it. Beautiful, beautiful presentation.
Yeah, we did videotape it.
You did.
Our
Oh,
videographer on Sunday. So I don't know if is it going to be ready soon? Yeah, next week, and it's a big undertaking, but
Yeah, well,
he does a great job. And this way, you can watch it either on the YouTube or the town website or the TV, the cable TV, 77 or 38.
yeah, again, congratulations.
They put on a great show.
Yeah, right. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our ordinances.
Can I just say something? Kind of big crowd in here. I've been here since 7 o'clock. We couldn't get back in here to open up to the public, okay, with the traffic going out and people coming out and over people. And we just blew it open to the public. The total occupancy of the room was way over exceeded, way over, okay? So either we wait outside, or you have the people wait outside, but we shouldn't miss open to the public. And generous. I mean, it's just it's a low blow by the council to get that in and get it out. You should give us a chance to come back in, or when the room's empty, and say, we're gonna start the meeting in 5 minutes. And it will push the people out of the way, the older people that were trying to get in. I couldn't get in here. Okay? And you just blow past, you see nobody's here, I'll open to the public, close to the public. Like I say, you don't wanna hear us. But that was a low.
All right, Larry, we understand your comments, but you know what? I did give a couple minutes. I mentioned that our police officer did go outside, and he did mention we're
They did,
opening.
they did.
It was,
And
well,
usually the microphone
did-
works outside. The microphone doesn't work outside.
okay.
And like I say, Mrs. Gattuso was here, and some other, Del Vecchio was here. You couldn't get through.
All right, basically, though, we would not do it just not to hear, okay? We didn't think there was anyone out there, so.
No.
Okay,
Like I said, you know
you know what? I'm not gonna badger back and forth. If the council would like to make a motion to open it to the public, be my guest. You will bring it again if you'd like to.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The meeting is now open.
Okay, Larry Tychek, 92 Claremont. We had a lengthy discussion on Tuesday night. Some topics were brought up. Do we have answers to some of the questions as far as the commercial tax appeals? The reason why Bennigan's was given that 36% tax decrease? And if any of the big corporations come in for commercial tax appeals, Park 80, Zuckerberg's, have any of them come in, Pete, or no?
Yes.
They have?
I'll answer
Okay.
this.
So obviously, like I say, it's not a failure yet, but our rolling tax assessment was put into place, I think it was 300,000 or 400,000, and it was gonna stop the commercial tax appeals. It did not. Okay? We didn't go to court yet, or we didn't go, but it did not. Okay? And that's exactly what I said 2 years ago when we first started this, or 3 years ago. I said, we are no match for them. They are sharks, we're guppies. You're not gonna beat them. And they're gonna pound you over the head, and the residents are gonna wind up paying the taxes. And that's exactly what's happening. And we blew that, how much did we spend for the rolling assessment? Was it 400,000 or 700,000? For the 5 years?
75,000 a year for
How
5
much?
years. 75,000.
75 for how many years?
5 years.
For 5 years. You do the math. But, like I say, we still have these things, we still have to hire attorneys, and we're still gonna lose. Okay? It doesn't work, not when the assessments in the town are not correct. And the reason that the assessments in the town are not correct, because our tax assessor is not here. He's in Hackensack, and he works full-time in Hackensack. We need a full-time tax assessor here to come into this town and straighten the taxes out on the properties. Now, also, you told me that they were just people that go around, take the information, Karen? Is that what you said? There has to be some formula that is the same all over town. I mean, I come into work one day, he comes into work the next day, and you come into work the next day. We all have different opinions. There has to be a formula to do a tax assessment, and we don't have one. And like I said, I gave you a perfect example. You weren't here Tuesday, Flo, so you missed the example. I don't want to go into it publicly, but you missed the perfect example of what happens 2 years in a row. Okay? And it's put on the resident to appeal the taxes or go see the tax assessor, which they shouldn't have to. There should be one formula for doing these houses, and there's not. And like I say, the ones that we should go after are our big corporations. We can't get in there. They're on the honor system, and the residents are not on the honor system. Like I say, as far as the building is concerned, like I said, I think we're going too fast. You people had your minds made up already. You had pictures and drawings and everything else, and you heard 9 minutes of public opinion from 3 people. Me, Emil, and Lou are the only ones that talked. We need to have it like we had for the senior center. Let the people decide. We're spending $25 million. We're never going to spend $25 million again in this town. And I think that you people up there, nothing against you personally, you don't know enough about it. You don't know enough about it to spend 25 million and to be that vote, whatever. Like I say, everything looks positive, but when you have hearings, you start hearing negative. There's no doubt in my mind we're overpaying for the property, we're overpaying for the building. It is not a property in real estate. Like I say, the three most important things in real estate are location, location, location. Look at that location. It's
Larry,
buried
at this point.
in an industrial area. I'm gonna be the only one that's gonna talk tonight, I believe, Flo.
Well,
So,
you don't know
like I
that,
said,
but
we
your
can't
3
have,
minutes are up.
you know,
Okay. Your 3 minutes have been up.
I know, but
Wow.
you can't
You
limit
had
us to.
75 minutes Tuesday night.
No, I don't want 75
You
minutes.
had.
But like I said, I think it was very good. So I talked to Todd about, it was very good because both sides heard everything. You can't hear everything. Flo. When we're gonna spend 25 million and you're gonna limit a resident to 3 minutes, like I say, these things that I talked about in the beginning, the commercial tax bills and everything, have an effect on where we're gonna get the money to pay that when we're spending 25 million on a building.
understand that.
We gotta have the money to pay the tax appeals.
I get
We
it.
gotta have the money to pay the police retirements. We don't have any of that. We don't have any of that in place. And yet we're going on and we're gonna spend 25 million. Like I say, explore other options, take your time, slow down. We rushed to do Veterans Field. The last meeting in December before the mayor left, they voted on it, and look what we have there. Look what we have at Veterans.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to wrap up. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard? I'm sorry?
We're open.
We'll open after each.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I just want to, before Emil goes, I want Pete to address something that Larry said about the tax appeals and these
Sure,
big
when we're close to the
corporations.
public.
Okay,
Oh, you want to do it in, oh, okay. Okay.
Emil, do you have anything? Okay, well, you know what, why don't you come up and just.
Second reading? We
Is
have
it a
an-
second reading when you,
We'll be opening,
The water rates.
we'll be opening.
we'll be opening after?
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Just, yeah, one more thing, if I may, about the project here. If I may, through the chair, Peter, you brought up about the architect. I believe he was from Red Bank, and they specialize in doing commercial kind of.
Yes.
He was here prior to do some work for this building here, or this, for the town. He did something in the past recently?
When you're done, I'll answer if you have any other questions.
That's pretty much it on that. The reason I was asking that is, this is kind of a difficult thing for me. I think it's a great idea as far as the new complex there. But like Larry said, 25 million is a whole lot of money. What if we took 15 of that million and rebuilt this place? Build a new firehouse right down the block, a new ambulance corps. Take this building here and go up 2 or 3 levels. I bet it's a lot less than $25 million. That's the only thing that I wanted to say. I don't know where to go with this. It's got to be a really tough decision to make because, I could see even down the road where there could be cost overruns and that 25 number can jump up. You're putting an awful lot of stuff into that. I was just looking at the blueprints outside there, and that building is packed. I don't know. It's a kind of scary thing, for us taxpayers. I mean, we're the ones footing the bill for this, but I don't know what the answer is. Whether to move it there or did that particular architect look at this area? Our present,
Yes.
present. He did.
If I could respond. Prior administration, we advertised for architects to come up with different proposals at no cost to the township, just to get some ideas for this building, the old police station, and the firehouse. He was one of the people who came in.
So did he submit any kind of plans or anything like that?
It was just a discussion to decide.
That's all it was, just,
They were talking about tunnels and bridges, that parking underneath. Basically, the property's small, and to expand, whether we had the steel to put up even an additional floor here, to expand the ambulance corps bay, and then build right outside here for office space. But then we'd have to have a corridor that would take taken into the other area. It was just some suggestions.
Okay, there was nothing on paper, no blueprints or anything like that, or?
No. They came up with their ideas, and there really wasn't much.
See, what scares me
size
the
of
most
property.
about that complex, I'll be perfectly honest with you, is just the loss in tax revenue of over $250,000 a year. A loss of $250,000 every year. Just think about that. Every 4 years, you're losing $1 million in tax revenues. That's a lot of money. Once again, I think it's a good idea, but I wish we would take a look at this property here, what we presently own, and to save that rateable if we can. That's all I got to say. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'll be real quick. With this ordinance you guys have on the water rates, we're gonna get another increase,
You'll
correct?
have the hearing, if I may, through the chair. You'll have an opportunity to come up for that.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public wishing to be heard? No. Having seen a motion to close?
Motion.
Just through the chair,
Yes.
in regards to the rolling reassessment, I believe we were told that the commercial tax appeals will lessen what we had, but not disappear completely, if I'm not mistaken. So to say we would lose all the commercial tax appeals, I don't think they ever said that. I believe it was said that they would lessen. A majority of them would lessen compared to what they were.
I said if one comes in, they all come in. And that's what he told me, they
So,
all come in.
That's all I remember, is that they would lessen.
You're right.
They would never disappear completely.
That's what they said. And I said, once one
All
comes
right.
in, they all come in.
Through the chair.
Yes.
See, the thing is, we're in much better shape now. When I stopped to ask Pete to mention something, there are some appeals that they were denied in the county. And now these corporations or these appellants are going further to the state. I'm in no position to speak for the Superior Court. But I know what I know from being a police officer and the court system. Chances are, unless there was some irregularity or a problem, and I would think Anthony could speak better to this. It's usually the state, you will prevail. Usually the town in that case is gonna prevail. And there's, I think Pete said to me, what, 17? That are appealing, the
58.
county, the county
16.
rejected their appeal. And now
16 are being appealed to the state
so
tax court.
16 are going, and they're gonna lose. So, you know what, chances are they're gonna lose, okay? I mean, you know, I'm not a legal person, but.
We can't do house correction. How are we gonna do these?
And Larry, I know you're saying.
How are we gonna do a big building?
Well, you know what, we believe, and we wouldn't have hired them if we didn't believe that they're a very good, the rolling
We went on
reassessment.
someone else's word, and I told you.
You know what, a lot more, Anthony just whispered in my ear that a lot more towns have gone on board with them. So, from this year, the last, since we went on board with them. So, I'm confident, and they have decreased. I mean, I don't know if Pete can speak a little bit more to it. Go ahead, yeah.
The only thing I was gonna say is that,
Just Mayor and
sorry.
Anthony, we're just right in the middle of closing it, so I just want to get that out on the record, that we close the meeting to the public. All in favor? Aye. So we didn't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so now,
you can't stop people from filing a tax appeal. The only thing that you can do, and like you said before, is that you will decrease the amount of appeals taken because less attorneys will want to take the cases because they're not as good. So that's the first thing. You know, in this country, obviously, people file frivolous cases. People are very aggressive with these tax appeals. Some of these companies, I think it was stated the other night, I forgot who said it, but I've seen, when I go to tax court for some towns that I represent, that the attorneys for the taxpayers send mass mailings out to the whole town when the, tax appeal time comes. So people will just call anyway and figure, maybe I can get a reduction. So I'm sure even more so with the businesses, because they stand to save a lot more money if they prevail. And usually there's no risk, because when they take the case on, I know this because I do some in other towns, they get it on a percentage if they prevail. So why wouldn't someone hire, an attorney who he thinks it's gonna be a good case, and the attorney's gonna represent him and not take a fee unless they win the case? So it's saying, I'll reduce I'll get your taxes reduced if you hire me, and if I don't succeed, then you don't owe me anything. So obviously, you're not gonna eliminate everything, but there's gonna be less people, filing, and on top of that, you'll be in the success rate much higher in tax court when it gets to that point, because you've built up your resistance to some of these appeals.
Makes sense.
And then through the chair, now we're in a better position to fight, like you were saying about that, they have all these high-class, attorneys. Well, we have pretty good attorneys now too, and because we went with this rolling reassessment, we're in a much better position to fight it. I don't care, you could be F. Lee Bailey, I don't care who you are, but if you don't have a good case, you're not gonna win. So, and you know what the philosophy before we took over really was, in my opinion, and I'm not looking to knock anybody, but it was, let's just kick the can down the road. You know what, they'll get tired, and that really came to bite us. That was that 1 year where we had the big increase because we had to take care of it. So, you know what, we're being responsible, we're being proactive, and I truly believe that we are going to see good results.
Thank you, Mayor.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Mr. Ratajek, Tuesday night asked for some information. I'm trying to get the information together, and I reached out to our tax appeal attorney as well as the assessor. Some of the information I have at this point I can tell you based on the tax appeals that were filed in 2018, because I have them in my office, we had 58 filed. 16 are appeals, as the mayor said, from the Bergen County tax to the state tax court. Of course, the corporations, as Mr. Accomando said, will file every year, and they do, because it doesn't cost them anything. They get the attorneys on retainer, and Larry did mention that the other night. If they win, they get a percentage of what they win. I know residents have gotten letters, file tax appeals, that won't cost you anything. So, of course, they're going to try to get a reduction. As the mayor said, we're in better shape, and the reason, and I think the auditor and I were skeptics, as well as everybody sitting up here on this rolling reassessment, how it could work, is the drop in the ratio. And that's what hurt us with the commercial tax appeals. When the ratio drops, the attorneys know it, they file the lawsuit. You can't defend if you're at 70%, 100% assessment. The rolling reassessment picks up any commercial properties have been sold, so that value comes in, and Anthony could correct me if I'm wrong on this. Any changes in the commercial properties, any new renters, like in some of the office buildings, as well as the ratio. So we try to stay at 100%. That seems to be helping based on my conversation with Mr. Bang, and it puts us in a better position to defend. That was the purpose of the rolling reassessment. And it was said at the meetings by Mr. Bang, by Mr. Carlson, you're not going to stop people from filing tax appeals. Everybody has that right. We want to be in better footing to defend them when we go to court, which we weren't in the past.
Thank you.
How about the banking scenario?
I didn't have information yet.
I didn't have, but it went down 36%, their taxes,
When I get it, I'll let you know.
with no tax appeal. Stroke of a pen. You can't lose 36,000 on a piece of property.
All right, moving on with the agenda.
We have ordinance 1651-19 is a bond ordinance to authorize the 2019 road improvement program in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,200,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds for a second reading.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
A bond ordinance to authorize the 2019 road improvement program in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,200,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of such bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Open to the public.
A motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public regarding this ordinance. Anyone wishing to be heard?
Ira Tychek, 92 Claremont. I think that we should put something in place so we don't have the same problem we had with this last fiasco with the paving. Either they do one road, and the engineer should be out there, the business administrator should be out there overlooking the job every day. When you see massive problems like we had this time here, the job should have been shut down. Job should have been, so someone is not doing their job, okay? I mean, if you're a professional engineer and you go out there and you see that crew working, and if you think they're professional, then we need to look into the engineer. I'm not saying you personally, but you can't let the inmates run the asylum, and that's what happened in these 5 roads that they did here. They destroyed our 5 roads, our 5 handicap ramps. It's a laughingstock. And you know why? Because there was no one there overlooking. If you see them pouring a ramp the way they're pouring them like that, you say, guys, stop. Let me call your boss up and get him down here and stop. Don't let him do the whole project. Now look at the mess that we have now. Who's going to fix it? Who's going to rip it out? Who's going to pay for it? There's no overseeing. You got to oversee the job. You can't just appoint a contractor or hire a contractor and have no one look after him, because this is the end result. This is the end. You could see from the beginning, me, I'm not a contractor. I'm not in construction, but I could see the crew show up. It was like the little rascals coming to show up with their old equipment and everything else, the 3 guys that they had. You know, I'm not saying that you have to speak English to be a paver, but you couldn't even communicate with them. And the way they treated our neighbors, the reports that the town got, the way they treated our residents, it was bad. And they should have been stopped right away. As soon as they had a road ripped up for a week, that's too long. You mill and you pave the next day. You mill and you pave. You mill and you pave. Look at other towns. You got to know what you're doing, and someone's got to check on them. We can't all stay up here and then say, oh, well, what are we going to do now? We're going to hold payment back. They're going to take us to court. No, you stop them. If a guy's messing up your house, putting a roof on your house, and he's putting all holes in the roof, you're supposed to be putting a roof on, you stop him. You don't let him continue. And this is what we do. There's nobody out there watching for us, our and the taxpayer. It's our money, not yours. You voted to spend our money. Now you better watch how you spend it and make sure it's spent right. And the jobs are done good, because Veterans Field should have never been continued. The paving project should have never been continued.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Yes.
There was oversight during the jobs. A lot of the issues pop up. A lot of the issues pop up afterwards. You don't see potholes while the paving pop up.
The ramps. Look at they did the mason work first. Look at the ramps and the curbs.
Yeah, not all the ramps and the curbs have been accepted into the code.
75% of that.
I don't know. 75%.
Will you take me for a ride and show me another town that has ramps like we do? You show me another town.
Okay, all right, yell that. Okay, you've had your say. The engineer. Anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance? No. Motion to close?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, a bond ordinance to authorize the 2019 road improvement program in, by, and for the Township of Saddlebrook and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,200,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mason?
Yes.
Ordinance passed. Ordinance 1652-19, a final reading. A bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of the water main on Shealy Place from Oxford Avenue to Alberta Drive, and the undertaking of water system improvements at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $425,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds for a second reading.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Dormini?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
A bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of the water mains on Shealy Place from Oxford Avenue to Alberta Drive, and the undertaking of water system improvements at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $425,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
It's now open.
Motion open to.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public regarding this ordinance.
Okay, Shealy Place is about 8 houses on each side of the street. You said it's $425,000. I told you on Tuesday night that I was on Flora Lane, and I happened to look down, and the manhole cover said Saddlebrook, 1964. Basically, that whole side of town was all done at one time, infrastructure, water mains, and everything like that. We're saying we're in great shape. That infrastructure is over 60 years old. Do you think that we have the money, if it costs $425 to do a little street like that, do you think we have money to update our infrastructure? Or are we planning to update our infrastructure? Or should we go ahead with a $25 million project? We're operating right now, but we're operating, you know, in close quarters and everything else. We need a new pump station. What's more important, our infrastructure or the $25 million? If it's costing $425 to do that little road, what is it gonna cost to do that side of town? And it's all old. It's all 60 years old. We don't have a plan in place. We have nothing in place. We fix as it breaks. We fix as it breaks. That's what our plan is. No good. No good, poor planning. It's poor planning. That's what it is. So think before we spend lots of money, because if it's $425 to do that little street, look what it would cost to do the surrounding streets. They were all done at the same time.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance? No. Motion closed.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, a bond ordinance to authorize the replacement of the water mains on Shealy Place from Oxford Avenue to Alberta Drive, and the undertaking of water system improvements at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $425,000 to pay the costs thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
Ordinance 1653-19 is an ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Fix Water Rates and Service Charges and Penalties for the Municipal Water System of the Township of Saddle River, now known as Saddlebrook, in the County of Bergen, revision 1931, as amended and supplemented for a second reading.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Fix the Water Rates and Service Charges and Penalties for the municipal water system of the Township of Saddle River, now Saddlebrook, in the County of Bergen, revision of 1931, as amended and supplemented. For public hearing.
Motion open to the public?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public regarding this ordinance.
This ordinance here, this is for a rate increase, right? 6% on water rates? Yes, no, maybe so, someone?
I'm sorry. I
The
didn't-
ordinance
Yes.
is for a 6% increase on our water rates. Didn't we just get an increase a couple of years ago from these people? Suez? And what does the last line mean in that ordinance? As well as updates to the water system, minus 2%. What does that mean?
Plus 2%. In other words, the
It's
total
one-
increase is 8%. 6% is directly due to Suez increasing
Water
the
and
rates.
2% for
For our
repairs.
work, like we're doing Shirley Place and other repairs.
Do we get any kind of explanation from Suez for this increase? I mean, it seemed like I said, this seems like every couple of years water's getting expensive. It falls out of the damn sky for nothing, and we're paying through the nose for it. Yeah, really, I just don't understand why
We,
we
as
keep
well
getting
as
these
other
damn
towns-
increases from them. And what I understand is, there are many towns, Hoboken and all that, are really ticked off with this company because of the horrible job that they're doing. And here they are, just asking for more and more money. I don't know, I think that's an insult.
And the State of New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
They're the ones that
approves
vote on
their
it?
increase.
They
Even though
vote-
we've all protested, every
Okay.
town.
We did send a letter.
We did resolutions.
Okay, that's all I gotta say, it's just, I don't know, I just feel
They
this
ask
is
for
an outrage.
15%, they get 8, 6. They ask for a big number, and they negotiate with the Board of Public Utilities, and they get the increase.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
The water that we own, approximately how much money do we make a year on it?
I couldn't tell you offhand.
I know years ago it was $1 million, and that's why we held
It's
on to
about,
the water.
it's
Excuse me?
more, slightly, it's probably closer to 2 million, but we don't have the
Okay,
audit
but
yet.
even at 2 million, like I said, we're talking about the infrastructure. Let them take it. Let them spend that 425 on Shealy. We're ready to crap out with our infrastructure.
That is an option.
It is.
We're ready, you know what I mean? We rode the car as far as it can go. It's got 200,000 miles on it. Now's the time to get rid of it. Now's the time to get rid of our water. And we should really think about it. Because it doesn't make sense. If we're making 2 million and spending 400,000 on an 8-house block or a 16-house block, 2 houses on, one on each side. I mean, what's gonna happen when they go on Fairlawn Parkway or Westminster or Claremont? I mean, ours are 30 years old on Claremont now. You should really think, unless we're making $4 or $5 million where we can't, you know what, so here you are, here's your water pipes back, and here's all your mains, and you do all the updating now. When you need you, we'll call you. We're gonna just use your water, buy your water, like every other town does. I mean, we should really think into it instead of sinking the money into the ground the way we do. But these are ideas that you people have to come up with, not the public. You have to look at it. Only so much can come from the public. Thank
We
you.
have, just to answer your question.
You have?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance? No? Motion to close?
Motion.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend and supplement an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to fix water rates and service charges and penalties for the municipal water system of the Township of Saddle River, now Saddlebrook, in the County of Bergen, revision of 1931, as amended and supplemented, does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio.
Yes.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Mason.
Yes.
Ordinance 1654-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 93, Section 10, entitled Fire Prevention Permit Fees of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook. Second reading.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 93, Section 10, entitled Fire Prevention Permit Fees of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook. For a public hearing?
Motion open.
Motion to open.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's now open to the public regarding this ordinance. Anyone wishing to be heard?
What is this one?
It's permit fees.
Fire
Fire
prevention.
Fire
fees.
prevention. No?
We pay no.
Okay. Motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 93, Section 10, entitled Fire Prevention Permit Fees of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President
Yes.
Mazur? Ordinance 1655-19 is first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 196 entitled Vehicles and Traffic to amend Sections 12.2 and 12.3 and to add a new Section 12.5, which is the library parking lot. For first reading?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending Chapter 196 entitled Vehicles and Traffic to amend Sections 12.2 and 12.3 and to add a new Section 12.5 is now heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 4th day of April, 2019, at 7:00 p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
First reading ordinance 1655-19 is an ordinance amending Chapter 196 entitled, 1656-19 is an ordinance to amend and supplement the provisions of Chapter 185 swimming pools private of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook for first reading.
A motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to amend and supplement the provisions of Chapter 183 swimming pools private of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 2nd day of May, 2019, at 7:00 p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage. The date is in May to give the planning board time to review the ordinance.
A motion.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
That completes ordinances. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications. One application, Councilman Simluk had asked to be removed due to a conflict. Since he's absent, we can put that on as part of consent agenda.
Okay. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Lee.
Yes.
That's it.
Motion to open the meeting to the public? Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting's now open to the public?
On the swimming pool ordinance, is it all pools that are being installed, built-in pools, have to put the seepage pits in? Or where you feel they're required, or how is the wording in that? Like, does everybody get it?
Yeah, through the chair, it's depending on your lot coverage, I believe we
Okay, but
decided.
I was here Tuesday night for all that discussion and everything, and, I mean, you could make it very simple. Every time there's a built-in pool put in, seepage pits have to be put in. Because if you look around, you take a small cape and you put a McMansion on it, and you do that like on Herbert Terrace now, it's a very small block, very small lots, you got 3 McMansions now. You're taking up all the space. So it's very easy for the planning board, for the zoning board, who's ever gonna hear it, it's the building department, you put in a built-in pool, the machine is there already. So if he has to dig 2 more holes on each side of the house, and if, I think they're about $1,000, $1,500 a piece, and if $3,000 is gonna stop you from spending 60, then you shouldn't afford to be able to afford the 60,000 for the pool. And it's very simple, and you don't have to go for a hearing. You go to the building department for a permit, you got the lot coverage, your pool is good, it fits. Also, with that pool goes 2 seepage pits. And you tie your downspouts and everything else into it, and it's that simple. You want the pool, these are the rules, and that's it. And you don't have no zoning board, you don't have no planning board. And it makes Tony's job a lot easier, because you're gonna fight and say, well, my neighbor put a pool in and he didn't have to put the seepage pits in, and why are you making me? You eliminate that. And it's clear as day, it's black and white. Pool, seepage pits.
It's actually a good point.
That's
Very
it.
true.
And it cuts a lot of arguing down, because there's gonna be a lot of arguing over it. People are not gonna wanna go for that extra expense, and they're gonna use the example, this guy put a pool in, this guy did, he didn't put seepage pits in. It should be. And I mean, I don't even know, like, on these McMansions that are being built now, they should be required to put seepage pits in, because they're taking up a lot of their lot coverage. And like I say, you wanna build on a 50 by 100, we require 65 by 100. And we're letting all of these things happen at 50 by 100. The reason that ordinance was changed 10 years ago was to stop the McMansions. And now we just give everybody, punch your ticket, punch your ticket. You don't have 65 in the front, don't even bother me. Don't even come in. And we allow it. And look what we have. We got houses, like I say, I never thought I'd be alive to see a house in Saddlebrook for $700,000 on a 50 by 100. I never thought I'd see that day. My father bought his house in 1957 on a 50 by 100, $18,000. They're $700,000 now on Herbert Terrace and Weller. They might not get that, but they get 690, 685. You know what? Make it work. Put the seepage pits in.
Thank you. Anyone else? Wishing to be heard? No. Sure? Motion to close.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any comments? Mayor, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Is this new business or just comments?
Whatever kind of business you
Okay.
want. We'll condense it.
All right,
Combine it.
just a couple of points. Regarding Suez. The town, we've been approached a number of times in the past, not too long ago, while I've been mayor, that they would like to take over all of, buy the pipes, take over the maintenance. It's an option, and it's something that we will consider, but like anything else, we're complaining about the 8% increase. You know what, if we didn't have our own maintenance, then we'd be complaining about how much they're gonna charge us for the maintenance, because it's gonna keep going up. And we really don't have a lot of control over that. So there's advantages and disadvantages, and, it will be considered. Regarding Larry mentioned something about the proposed new municipal complex. And that we don't know what we're doing. You know what? No one up here is saying that we're not professionals. We're not builders. Well, okay. Well, that's
You know what? You learn from your mistakes. We made enough mistakes.
we do have an architect that's looking at the whole project, okay, and looking at the purchase, what the building's worth. It was appraised. What the redevelopment would cost, so that we're not entering into, going in blindly.
Lara, it's not open. I opened it for you before.
And to Emil's point, you mentioned, well, both of you mentioned about using this property. One of the big things about this new municipal complex is that we're getting a rec civic center there. Okay, so that's a big selling point, because everybody in this town has said for years, and everybody up here has heard it. What we were hearing is, why not take that whole building and make it a recreation civic center? That's what we're hearing. You know what I mean? So I think we're kind of making it dual use, multiple use, I should say. So, anyway, but the rec center is a big plus, rec civic center. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I'm going to consider this new business. Tommy Dickman is here, our former fire chief, and reminded me, I've had conversations with Councilman Garrett. I'd like to reestablish that flood committee. And I know Tommy's expressed a lot of interest in getting involved. And, just in thinking about it, and I don't want to put Todd on the spot, but, I'm thinking that it'd be a good idea to have emergency management involved in that, because, so I would like to, if you would, you don't have to say it now, but if you'd like to be on that committee, you and Councilman Garrett, and I've already spoken to Bergen County Shared Services, they would like to get involved in that as well. So,
Absolutely. I
I'd
think
like to
it's something we
start
need.
doing something, because we've kind of let it lapse a little bit. And Tommy's been telling me, he's been asking me for a while, and telling me he'd be interested in joining and helping out. So that's something that we should really consider doing quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Councilman, any comments?
No, I'm good.
No?
Thank you.
Councilman?
Just in regards to the mayor's comments, I would love to participate in the flood committee and see what we could do to mitigate any issues coming down the pike. I mean, hopefully we don't see anything for a long time. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Just, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. We could have a committee, but it's just a matter of putting that committee to use. Like I've known in the past, there was floods, and it seemed like, and I'm not in the flood zone, so I can't say I know what it's like, but I've helped in areas with the county, removing people from this horror is what it is, because you got 6, 7 feet of water in your basement, even 3 feet. It's just not good. So I think it's a great idea, as long as we act on it, and when we do have floods, the people that are supposed to show up, show up. And that's all I have to say, but it's a great idea.
I agree. And you know what, the thing is too, it's difficult about a committee is we can do something in Saddlebrook, but unless we get the cooperation from the county and the towns that are up ahead of us and, down below, but really, we need to work with Paramus and with Rochelle Park. And Rochelle Park, their business administrator over there, Bobby Davis, and he's very, very involved. They, as everyone knows, they flooded really badly. I think his house did. So he is another one that reminds me every time, look, we gotta get together, we gotta do something. Sam Garofalo in Garfield is it's another person that, so we can get a group together and work together and try to mitigate some of this and do the best we can. But, working with the county's been really good, with the inmates that time.
Yeah, we went to Rochelle Park, we cleaned out 213 homes with the inmate labor program. And just to see what these people went through, I couldn't imagine ever rebuilding or just living through that, how some of these people did it, and they're strong. And a lot of them were seniors. It's a shame.
Yeah, I talked to people that weren't even affected, And they recall going down Saddle River Road with all people's belongings and furniture. It's very upsetting, you know, to think about what happened. So if we could do anything to, again, maybe do something to lessen that impact or to, you know, who knows? You know, we may not ever be able to dredge, but, you know, that's something that, but there are things that can be done, and we want to stay on top of it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I was going to say, I agree. And the reason it fell apart is because no one showed up.
That's it.
Once Tommy Richards left,
That's it, yeah. He was the glue that held
the
it together.
county no longer, if we don't have the participation from the surrounding towns, there's not much we can do. The DPW, that's Garofalo from Garfield.
Yeah, Sam.
The guy knows everything about everything. Excellent. So I think it's a good idea too, but unfortunately, it fell apart because they didn't come. So I know Lodi was strong to come, but, you know, I hope that you can get it back together again.
Be good. Thank you. Okay. Leave it to closed session. We need, yeah, okay. We need a motion, we're going to go into closed session.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome to stay, but I don't know how long it's gonna be, but if not, thank you.
Okay, so with respect to, which resolution number would it be then?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right, for passage tonight, it's a resolution to, referring to the planning board, whereas NJSA 48:12A-1 at SEC, known as the Local Redevelopment and Housing Law, provides in pertinent part that a local governing body may cause a preliminary investigation to be made as to whether an area is in need of redevelopment, and whereas the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook has determined that the properties described below should be preliminarily investigated by the Planning Board of the Township of Saddlebrook to determine whether the areas are in need of redevelopment, as more specifically provided in the Local Redevelopment and Housing Law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook as follows. The Planning Board of the Township of Saddlebrook be and hereby is authorized to make a preliminary investigation to determine whether the areas described below are a redevelopment area according to the criteria set forth in NJSA 48:12A-5, and that the Township Council hereby assigns the conduct of an investigation and a hearing as required by statute to the Planning Board of the Township of Saddlebrook. Number two, the areas to be investigated by the Planning Board pursuant to this resolution are tax lot number 5.02, block 801, as shown on the tax map of the Township of Saddlebrook. The Township Clerk be and hereby is authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to the Secretary of the Planning Board, to all duly constituted members of the Planning Board, and to the Attorney for the Planning Board. Be it further resolved that the Township Planner, Mazer Consulting, shall conduct professional planning services to assist the Planning Board in its investigation, subject to certification of availability of funds by the Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Councilwoman Dormini?
Yes.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Akimano?
Yes.
Council President Mason?
Yes. Yes. Any motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.